Hello everyone, and welcome back to CSSBattle.dev. We've got a pretty interesting shape here. This one took me a minute. Uh, so we have a brown square in the middle, which is tilted 45 degrees, and each side has a long orange rectangle. Now you can see we're going to make 3 elements here and give each an ID. That way we can mess around with them individually or as a group, as you'll see as I group a couple of these IDs together. This was challenging for me. You might notice that the first half of this video goes by pretty fast, and that's because I couldn't quite get the shape down. Sometimes the challenge of this is just a few pixels off, and sometimes you just gotta scrap it and start over again. Kind of like challenges in life, right? Sometimes you gotta look at something and be like, this isn't the way it's supposed to go. And we're close, but we're not quite there. So you just start over again. And luckily, with practice, you get the hang of these things, and you know what the alternative is. And I don't know. I think that's actually pretty accurate to life itself. You get these challenges, and sometimes you feel like you're really close to something, and you're just waiting for it to happen. But you're not quite there. You're not quite at the finish line. So you got to go back to the drawing board. And with experience comes knowledge, I suppose. Comes wisdom. When you try something and it's not working out, and you start thinking of alternatives, maybe you've been down those alternate roads already. Maybe you know what else needs to happen to get stuff done. Now that's just an analog, right? I'm being very general, and I'm sure we all have stories, but let's not get too personal here, right? We're here to have fun and make shapes, play with our web design. So I got started on all of this about 2 years ago. A little more than that. While I was working a security job. These jobs are pretty beneficial for somebody who wants to study something else, especially if you've got a post that maybe you're in a guard box and you sit around for 6 hours just making sure no one breaks in. Gives you a lot of time to think, and most of the time we're gonna watch videos. I'm just being honest. We're gonna watch YouTube, we're gonna watch Netflix, we're jumping on Hulu. Maybe we're playing some games if we're sneaky. But I think if you really want something more out of life, that's a great job to study. And I've known a few students that took up security, and like they would study while they were at work. I know one guy built a game. He was building something like a roller coaster simulator. Yeah, that stuff is hard. But I mean, if you got the time and you got the ambition, that's the ripe environment to build something new. You can see here, this is where I'm going back and forth, and I'm even putting in like half pixels, which honestly I don't know how that works, because I'm pretty sure on a screen a pixel is an entire like distance. So if you're putting in half a pixel, that doesn't really make sense to me, because then you're not really lighting up an LED, right? Because a pixel is supposed to represent one LED on your screen. But if you're doing half a pixel, how does that work? Maybe it has something to do with the resolution. Maybe the resolution is actually bigger than it looks, so when you do half a pixel, or each pixel is actually 2 pixels on your display, so when you do half a pixel, you're actually only lighting up one. I don't know, hardware, software, a little bit of a disconnect there, at least for me, in the understanding. But yeah, here I go, just I'm like sitting here and thinking, and this box is on the top, and every time I rotate it, the rest of the shapes they go off and they do their own thing, and everything's out of whack. It was frustrating to say the least. But you take a breath, you look at the problem, and you analyze it. Maybe this will work, or maybe that will work. You just keep trying until something sticks. That's what I like about code. Even when you get something not quite right, it's just fun to problem solve. And in a way, it feels like you've got all the time in the world to solve this problem, which is not an analog to life, right? I feel like everything has a time constraint in real life. I mean, our projects do, right? But everything's got a deadline. We've got bills to pay. Everything's got a due date. And you can't just sit by and think about a solution for as long as you want to. And I think that is a breeding ground for procrastination. You can't figure something out, you put it aside for a while, and you say to yourself, I'm going to think about this while I'm sleeping tonight. Or I'm going to think about this while I'm doing dishes. And then you forget because life is busy. You got a lot of things going on. So then you're doing the dishes, you're taking out the trash, and then you're watching an episode of something, and then it's time to get ready for bed, and then it's the next day, and you're like, oh shoot, that project that I was supposed to think about. On that note, everybody should have a notebook. I know we're kind of going off the wall and we're all over the place today, but I'm just enjoying being able to talk to you guys for a minute. Everybody should have a notebook. I have a notebook. It's called a Rocket Book, which is basically like a dry erase miniature notebook. And anytime I have an idea, pull it out of my pocket, jot it down, put it down. Or if I remember that I'm supposed to do something, like that Rocket Book also has a little to-do list, and I check it when I get home. Like today, I remembered that I needed to do the bushes on the side yard, like trim them down. Also needed to wash off the pavement in the backyard. We've got dogs, so there's hair all over the place. Plus, they're not the most cleanly with their food. Like, stuff gets all over the place. So, I jot this stuff down. It's kind of like a to-do list, but these things don't have due dates. It's just something that I keep track of. That way, when I'm sitting around and like I'm done with my episode and I'm like, I feel like I should be doing something right now, I check my to-do list and it's like, oh yeah, I should go clean that pavement, which I did today. Feels good to get stuff done. And that's a great it's a great tool to have while you're programming as well. If you get stuck on something, it's just so good to jot it down. Especially, I mean, personally, I don't know how it is with other people's projects and with other people's portfolios, but when you are building a web page for yourself, or a website even, that's an even grander scheme in things. When you're building these things, you have a lot to do, and each of these things can be broken down into little sections. Like, I've got a game project that I need to redesign. Like, it's just blocks jumping around right now. I gotta put in characters, I gotta put in background. It's all on the list. I want to redesign my text a little bit, maybe give it a little shadow. It's on the list. And for me, the easier ones are kind of higher on the priority list. It's easier to mess around with some text than it is to fix some bugs in a game. I've got an idea for an e-commerce site I want to build that kind of compares it to what WordPress builds. And WordPress is great for someone who doesn't, so for someone who has an eye for design but doesn't really want to get down to the nitty gritty in the code, WordPress is great for that. You can build a site and see what it's like. But I think if you're like me and you like the nitty gritty and you want to get those functionalities, like literally play with each pixel just like you do in CSS.dev, learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So I built a website with WordPress, and now I'm going to build the same site but with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Anyway, everybody should have a notebook. Don't give up if you get stuck. Try something new. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.